Hello, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to show you the bike that I just completed the Atlas mountain race on. This video series is sponsored by Redshift. More on those guys later, but they do some awesome components to make your basically your gravel bikes or mountain bikes more comfortable. I've been running their seat post, and as I said, we'll dig into that in a little bit. So the eagle-eyed of you watching the race coverage may have seen that I'm riding a unpainted prototype frame from Mason. Now this is actually a new bike that's coming from Mason during the summer. It's a mountain bike, 100mm travel up front, and it's made of aluminium, so it's made from Deda aluminium tubing. Now I can't go into too much detail right now, but keep your eyes peeled over the coming months for more and more details about it. Essentially though, it's 100mm travel, a bit lighter than say the Raw. The Raw is more of a trail orientated bike, but this bike is a bit more XT and it's perfect for the long climbs like the ones in the Atlas mountain race. And it's great on the the more open tracks where you're not on technical terrain. The frame is fitted with RockShox SID Ultimate forks. They're the 100mm, and I've got the lockout on the left-hand side of the bars up here. You'll also see I'm running the Redshift seat post. This is the shock stop seat post, the Pro version, slightly lighter than the standard version. I really rate this product. I've been using it for numerous events. I actually used it for the 2022 Atlas mountain race as well. And on these really rough tracks, it's really great just to be able to sit down and let the seat post take some of the shock out for you. It saves energy, and I think it makes you faster over the rougher terrain. On top of the seat post, I've got an Ergon saddle. Now I've been using this for the best part of a year now. It's the SR all-road core saddle. I find it really comfortable. I use it on the mountain bike. I used it for the Highland Trail race last year. I used it on the road bike, on the Japanese Odyssey. I've also used it on my gravel bike on further east. It seems to work really well for me, so I would thoroughly recommend that. The Groupset I'm running on this, it's a bit of a mix. To be honest, the bike came together fairly late on, being a prototype. So it's a mix of parts I already had, plus a few new parts. So I'm running a mix of XT and SLX. So the brakes are SLX. The shifter is XT, the chain set is XT, and the rear mech is SLX. And I'm actually running an XTR rear cassette. I happen to have that, so I thought I'd use it. Save some weight. The big sprocket is a 48 tooth, and the smallest is a 10. Maybe I could have done with a slightly lighter gear on the rear, but to be honest, I really don't like the massive sprockets, because once you get up there, the chain really can creak when it gets dry. And you may have gathered Morocco is quite a dry country. So I rode a 48 and a 34 tooth chainring. I got up most stuff. I did have a few indexing issues with my gears, and I did think maybe the cable had stretched, but as it turned out, when I unpacked the bike, I hadn't tightened up the rear mech fully, so it had gradually rattled loose over the course of 4 days. So there's a lesson there for you. Make sure all your bolts are tight before you go and do a race. Onto the wheels. Now you may have seen these wheels before. I used them for the Silk Road mountain race. People like Sofend Sahelia have been using them for a number of years now. And actually at the Atlas mountain race, we saw some production versions finally hit the trails after a very long wait. So Cynthia Carson actually took the win in the women's category on these wheels. And Marine de Saint-Exupéry, he started on a set as well. So they are the Proven Beyond carbon wheel set. So they've got a dynamo hub, they've got J-bend spokes, and the Proven XC rim with a slightly thicker carbon layup, just to make sure they're super durable for over this kind of event. They've taken plenty of wins over the years, and yeah, took the win in this event as well. Tyres, this year I don't actually have a exclusive tyre partnership with anyone, so I've had free rein, and I thought I'd give the Mezcals a go. Everyone goes on about how good the Mezcals are, so I thought I'd give them a try for Atlas. These are 2.35, they're in the heavier casing, and to be honest I was very impressed. They roll really well, they've got a good amount of grip. I mean, they're not going to give you ton of grip and loose stuff, but just by the nature of the tyre and the tread pattern, you can't expect them to do everything. But generally for dry conditions, especially bikepacking races, this kind of thing, I'd run them on Tour Divide, I'd run them on Silk Road. I was very impressed with them, and they've lasted pretty well. There's plenty of tread left on there. So yeah, I'd definitely be using those again. Up front I had the SP Dynamo hub on the wheel set, and that was powering my lighting system. I've been running the K-Lite system for a couple of years now, and I find it really reliable. I'm using the mountain bike lamp here, so it's got a really big beam pattern. Now in Morocco on the Atlas mountain race, you've got nearly 12 hours of darkness, so you're going to be riding in the dark a lot. So I prefer the dynamo system over a battery system in this scenario, because it just gives you peace of mind that you're always going to have the lighting. You can also charge your GPS off it using the USB charger, which I did, and yeah, so I basically powered myself fully using the system. I did have a spare power bank with me, but I didn't touch that at all. So yeah, fully self-sufficient, exactly what you need. The great thing about having the mountain bike beam pattern as well is when you're really tired at night, because it floods so much of the trail, it just allows your eyes to relax a little bit and it stops you feeling quite as tired. Onto the bars and the cockpit. Now these are just a Ritchey trail handlebar. As I said, it did come together quite late, the build, and I've got the clip-on aero bars, which are a mishmash of various different things, but I did find they did slip a bit. I had to build it up with tape quite a bit because there's a bit of a taper on the inside of the bar, so I probably wouldn't use those bars again if I was going to run clip-ons. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with the bars, it's just the shape. It could be a bit thicker, a bit wider, and that would have given me a better surface area to clamp on. I had the Wahoo, it's just an Element, no sorry, it's a Roam V2 mounted on there, and the cable that ran into the USB charger, I just left that on there all the time, and it worked great. And then I just had the Klite mounted on the Klite's own aluminium mount, just on the inside of the bars. Grips, now these are a new grip from Ergon. They're called the GT1, I think. I'm one of the first people to try them, so yeah, thanks to Ergon for sending them out. And they're pretty cool. They've got loads of different hand positions. So they've got the little kind of thumb grip on the inside, and I sat like that all the time in the race. I found it really comfortable, and then you can hold on to the ends like mini bar ends as well. I would have preferred a bigger bar end, I think. On the Silk Road I used their their bar end grip. But all in all, it's a really good grip, definitely worth a try. You also may notice I've upgraded the drivetrain with enduro bearings. So I've got the enduro bearings jockey wheels, and I've got enduro bearings XD15 ceramic bottom bracket. Now I've been using these, well, for the past year. So far I've done no maintenance and not changed any bearings, and they're still running super smooth. So definitely recommend that as an upgrade. If I was going to do something like Tour Divide, where last year the mud just destroyed everyone's bottom brackets, I think you'd probably get away with just 1 BB for that, and I think you'd come out the other side of it working well. Onto the rear lights. So you see I've got 2 rear lights. Now I've got another Redshift product on the back here. Now this is their arc rear lights, and I can clip that on the back of my tailfin rack quite easily. And the nice feature about this, it just clips out really quickly and easily to charge, and you can swap it around nice and quickly. I also ran an exposure, which one's this? This is the BoostR. So this is like a slightly bigger kind of capacity battery than the standard exposure rear light, and I used a saddle mount here, so it just fitted under the saddle. The one problem was when I had loads of food in here, it did block it, but because I had the other light as well, it wasn't too much of an issue. Onto the packs. Now, as you can see, I'm still on the Tailfin R&D division, so I get these very fancy white packs. I'm running some prototype stuff, prototype saddle pack. I use this in Japan. There's a massive storage net on the top, so I stuffed that full of food. As you can see, there's still a few bits in there. And then I have my sleeping gear in the back. The frame pack was actually custom made for my Mason Raw. It's probably a tiny bit too big for this frame, maybe like by 10 mil, so it was a bit of a squeeze to get this bottle in here, but everything came together quite last minute, being on the prototype, so I had to use it and make do, but it worked quite well. And I also used an early sample of one of the Tailfin top tube packs. The main reason being it's got these really good mesh pockets on the side, and I find them really good for putting my litter in. I don't want to be chucking litter on the trail, so if you've got something like that in front of you, you've got no excuses for dropping anything. And finally, carrying water. Obviously, being in the desert, you need capacity to take quite a lot. I took 3 1-litre bottles. Obviously, the frame mounts for like inside the triangle and the down tube, they worked really well. And then I found that I needed somewhere else to put my 3rd bottle, so I just got these little Elite. They're kind of like zip tie-on bottle mounts. With a bit of a sticker on the back there, and actually that worked really well. It was really easy to get to this bottle, and I had no problems, didn't lose it or anything. So yeah, that was a really good kind of system for me. So there we have it. That is the bike that I used for the Atlas mountain race. A big thank you to Redshift for supporting my video series. Don't forget to check out the discount code in the description below. And I'll have another video looking at all the gear in my bags. That will be coming out in a few days' time. So thanks for watching, and see you again soon.